You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, by God, I'm going to change something. Now we say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your stem. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind waken the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.
Hey, and welcome to FHL, Freedom, Health and Lifestyle, Personal Development with a Business Plan. I'm here with my good friend, Joey Makaunga, and looking forward to getting into this one. But this one is when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And now, look, sometimes I think it's not about, looking for a teacher. It's about being a good student, and allowing the truth to find you, sometimes, and learning from your mistakes. Sometimes we just make the same mistakes over and over again. We don't learn from them. Do you know what I mean? So, but again, sometimes the teacher is a person who turns up. When you're looking for something, when you're trying to do something, we're going to get into that. But FHL is all about thinking and doing better, and we all want better. Every one of us. I do. I'm sure you do too. So look, don't forget, like, subscribe, share, click that notification button. You'll learn when we're on. Usually around about the same time every week. And you can find me on Facebook, maybe at The Real Mick McQuillan. You can definitely find Joey on Facebook, Joey Makaunga. In fact, what's his real name? Joey, $1 Million Difference Maker, Joey Makaunga. Yeah, excited, loving it. And of course, you can find Joey on Facebook. You can also find him on joeyunga1 at .isogenics.com. Go and check him out. And of course, look. Stick around, and we're gonna get into this. So, Joey, say hello.
Hey, good day, Mike. Good day, everyone. I hope everyone have a wonderful week this week. A beautiful day here in Sydney. Yesterday was, man, we've been cooked. About 41 degree yesterday. Nothing much but staying indoor and just spend time with the family. Very grateful to be here. New week, new us, and we are very grateful. It's 125 episode. Every time I think about it, I still remember flashing back when we decided to do this, and look at us, a long way to go, and we come so far. But we knew that not only we become a student, but hopefully we'll be able to pass it on those. Um, Value or those gift and blessing that we receive from our teachers, whether in real person or virtually. We're still grateful for those people that we are able to learn from them, pick their brain, and also apply that in our personal growth or business growth. And because it make a difference in our life, that's why we're here. We want to pass it on, pay it forward. And I think that's what we learn from great teachers in life, including Jesus in the Bible. you know if something happened to you and you learn something or you change something in your life, whether it's your health or your mind, your spirit, their wish for you and us is to pay it forward. Go and share it with someone else. And that's what we do tonight. And tonight we are looking forward for this great episode. Myself and Mike McKinnon, all the way from the Republic of Ireland. I'm so happy and grateful. Couldn't recognize you today, my friend. I like the it's Dave.
Air to shave, air to shave to it. But the funny thing is, right? I've got an interesting story, and I'll get into that later. But you went looking for a teacher, right? So and you came across Bob Proctor. How did you learn about Bob Proctor?
Oh, well, it was, I think, the great things about social media nowadays, a lot of people, they said, I want to learn something new, or uh, you attract the people that you want in life because of who you become. And myself, my story was from a hospital bed. I decided I'm going to change the direction of my journey, my destination and my career, uh, personally, physically, and spiritually. And for some reason, pop up in one of the clips in maybe in my Facebook or YouTube, and it's kind of resonate with my father. He was in that age. He was 80 something at that time. He passed away at 87. Believe it or not, that's the same year with my dad when he passed away. His voice, his message, they helped me to remind me of my old man. And thanks, Mike. I like how you can bring those memory back. But yeah, that's where the journey started. I think that's where I decided to change. For things to change, I have to change. And when you decided to do something in life, you have to go back as a student and learn and try to learn new things. And I think the best thing about our journey, that when we make the decision, like Bob said in the video, we don't need to know how, but we just have to make a decision and commit to that decision, that I'm going to change. I'm going to change my health, my mindset, my spiritual being, my contribution, my influence. And you will surprise when you make that committed decision. That's that decision you tell yourself, because like Bob said, that decision was come from inside. It was not come from something external, my surrounding or something. Like it was totally come from what I really want. When I realized that I was put in this world for a purpose and some meaningful mission, I decided to go after that. So I decided to become a student again. Even though at that time I already have a family, you have a young children at that time, or maybe teenager. But when I make that committed decision, Bob show up in my life, and I start to listen to him. So I play I listen to him every single day. I try to work, and every now and then I listen to him. I learn something new, and that's the great thing about it. When you become a student and you are openly or open-minded to learn new things in life, you unlearn, which mean, if you know something before, if something is value, hold on to it. If something it doesn't add value to you, put it in a rubbish bin, because you need a space. Bob talked about in his book called "You Were Born Rich." you know you need to create a space in your life, or your space in your mind, or your spiritual, for the good that you really really deserve. And that's what I did. I just decided I'm going to be a new student, and take some new information, because I want to override the old program that happened before. Because like your favorite quote, um, uh, you never change the things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that make the existing model obsolete. And you definitely need the teachers to do that. And like you said, it doesn't have to be in physical body, but it can come from a books, can come from a audio um, program or podcast like this one here, and even mentor or coaches, you know that will help you, achieve the or move you close to the goal that you decide to do in life. And Bob broke that so up. So from there, I follow him, and then I saw one of the advertise that he's running kind of like a weekly program that they, you know, do it for free, invite people to come and listen to Bob. And Bob the legend was there. So when I joined and I listened to him, something connect. And when you connect, I know it was not um there was a reason why I was listening to this man, because he opened my mind to a different perspective in life, including business wise, um, you know, um, personal growth, and how I improve the quality of my financial by looking into MSI. It's the first time I heard from MSI. Is a multiple source of income. You know, um, you don't have to rely on one major income or linear income, which is employee works for someone else to build their dream, but you can create your own future or dream by go out there and decide what you really want, and find the people who already done it or already know what you want to go, and ask them to give you guidance, and take their information. But the most importantly, take the information by learning and study, but apply them. And when you apply them and you get some results and some success, don't forget, it was not meant to you to keep it, but to pay it forward. And that's what we do here. And you and I are doing every Sunday. We want to pay it forward because we learned from someone else. Success leaves clue. And Tony
Mm.
Robbins about it. And that's what we do. We learn from other people, especially other people mistake, and success too. But I think the common denominator of people who success in life, they always learn more from their failure. And that's a good thing about teachers. A lot of teachers, when you talk about them, they didn't become a master overnight. Most of them, they were disasters. And you and I, what we're doing in our professional and our industry, in our business, we know we're not perfect, where there's a lot of new skill to learn, and unlearn and relearn, and we're still on a journey together to be better. Because like you said, in the first, we are here to talk about something that help us to be better, contribute better, give more better, and hopefully we're able to support the people that they reach out to us and want to be collaborate, whether it's a business wise or customer user of what we share with them. So yeah, so Bob, so up, and the rest is history. But one of the things that I'm very grateful, to be part of that group before he passed away. And what a way. And when he passed away, he was 87. And then it's related to my dad. He was passed away at 87, and the wisdom and his voice is still with me now. Because and like I always say, one of our wishes that hopefully one day our program, our contribution in our health and lifestyle program, freedom and health and lifestyle program, is to hopefully one day when you share your story, your success, McMakillian and Joey Makaunga name will appear in your testimony. And I think that's the legacy that will live on with us.
Amazing, Joey. Like you went searching, you found it. Obviously these things were happening in your life. Do you know what I mean? And, and it's just been an incredible journey for you, like really incredible. Do you know what I mean? From when you're looking at that picture of you lying in that bed to then standing in front of this billboard, leaders in the making, the training retreat, that you're working towards and everything else like this. Add to that then the property empire that you're creating and building, all the things that have happened, how, your work ethic towards, better health, not just for you, but how you influence the people around you and everything else. It's just incredible. And it's just amazing to see. And you're becoming the teacher for other people, when they're ready. And that's the thing that, you have to be ready. Like I have to be ready. Do you know what I mean? For the opportunities that come along and the lessons that, that keep getting put in front of me that sometimes I just ignore. Do you know what I mean? And I have to, go through that lesson maybe 20 or 30 times, maybe even 20 or 30 years, Joey, before I'm ready to, to change. And that's why that quote, you never change things by fighting the existing reality, to change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete is so important. And that's why I've got it on my wall in front of me, because I'm constantly always trying to think, which might sound stupid, but I'm trying to think about how I can change me, and that takes a lot out of me. Do you know that? Because I'm trying to think with the tools that I have, the existing tools. How do I get new tools? I have to read more books, listen to more audios, do different things, open my mind to different possibilities and concepts. And, I was telling you before that, I had this epiphany a few weeks back about changing what I wanted to do and how I was going to do things. And it just popped into my mind. And so I'm doing my research, on some different softwares, right? Because I need a piece of software if I'm setting up an MLM, multi-level marketing, network marketing business, I'm going to need some software, to be able to manage the compensation process and everything else like this. So I'm looking at this bit of software and I'm thinking, right, okay, I need to speak to someone who's using it, right? So they've got a whole bunch of testimonials down at the bottom of the page. And so I get onto LinkedIn, going through LinkedIn, and I'm having a look around, find the person who's used it. And I reach out to this guy, and turns out I know him. I know him from 30 years ago, right? In Amway. He was in Amway. He was the first Diamond Direct in Amway. And a Diamond Direct is someone who's helped 6 people achieve a certain rank. And he was the first Diamond Direct in Amway in the UK. And at that time, there was about 500,000 people in Amway, right? So when I messaged him, I didn't know who he was. I didn't remember who he was, right? But I messaged him, and then he messaged me back, said, "Oh, sorry, I was away." He got back to me last week, said, "Oh, I was away." And he said, "Yeah, if you want to have a call, we'll have a call." So I rang him up, and we're chatting away. And he says, "Oh, I was asking him about the software," and he was saying, "Yeah, the software is a good bit of software if you just kind of wanted to start off and everything else." And then he started asking me about my experience in network marketing and everything else. So I first got involved in network marketing about 30 years ago in Amway. He was like, "Oh, right, okay." And he was like, what group was that?" And I was saying Jerry Scrivens, Bernie D'Souza. And he said, "I would." And then he goes on to tell me the story about how he was the first Diamond Direct. I said, "I know you." I said, "I remember you telling a story about trying to squeeze into a Lotus Elise or a Lotus Esprit." He said, "Yeah, that's me." I said, "I don't believe it." I'm just honest to God, because this guy was like he was huge. So I've got a call. I'm having a call with him today after this. We're doing a Zoom call, because he's, and there's a teacher who's just appeared for me, But again, like you, I was looking to learn something. Do you know what I mean? I was looking. And it was very interesting because he was saying that network marketing with Amway back in the early 90s, he said there was about 500,000 people. He said now there's about 1,000 people between the UK and Ireland in Amway, which is, room for massive kind of potential and growth again. But like everything, things go up and down. Do you know what I mean? And he said, would you look into an affiliate type model? So he sent me some information on it. I'm going to have a look at it with him this afternoon, and sure, we'll see. Do you know, I don't know how that's going to be different from what it is that my plan is, but I have to be open to lessons. I have to be open to it, to see. I can't just dismiss it. So, and that's the thing, you see. It's about, you have to be open to learning and to be course corrected from time to time. Like you've got to be honest with yourself, Joey, haven't you? Like it can be hard. Sometimes you don't want to be honest with yourself. Ignorance is bliss sometimes, right? And you just want to kind of, take it easy. But, the world doesn't stop. It keeps on going, and you have to keep going. I remember, a phrase that I used to use a lot, you can sleep when you're dead. Do you know what I mean? But sometimes you do need to rest. Sometimes you do need to take a break, just to recenter yourself. Look at your situation where you were working yourself nearly into an early grave, with 3 jobs, and now, and you could say, right, okay, well, before you learned about multiple sources of income, MSIs from Bob Proctor, you probably thought, MSIs isn't about having 3 jobs that you were kind of working your, fingers to the bone for. Do you know what I mean? As well as volunteering at church and all these other things, So you learned some new things. You had to think differently, but you had to be open to that challenge of becoming that new person, becoming that that new student, and that takes a lot to come to terms with the fact that that you're not doing it the right way, that you can be better. There's a better way of doing things. Do you know what I mean? And Joey, I've heard you said this before, especially when it comes to network marketing, multi-level marketing. That it's not perfect. It's just better. Do you know what I mean? And it's not. There's nothing's perfect. I used to say that I'm perfect in my imperfect way until I realized that I was just making an excuse for myself not to be better. And sometimes you are the lesson. Sometimes your thoughts are trying to tell you, and you just ignore them. Or the things that we say, the habits that we create, and sometimes it takes time for us to come to terms with the fact that we're not being, as good as we can be, and sometimes it can be other people that we're letting off the hook, that we let them treat us in a certain way. Do you know what I mean? And but look, this isn't about beating up on you or beating up on me or being hard on ourselves or anything else like this. This is about just making that committed decision, like you say, to do better, to be better, to do better, to walk, talk, act like that person that you want to become, because you grow into that person. You don't just kind of change overnight. You grow into them. So, when the student is ready, the teacher appears, and that teacher can come in many forms. Can come as a banana skin. Do you know what I mean? Where you make a big mistake and
sleep.
Yeah, and you have to learn, and you learn from it. Sometimes learning what not to do is just as important. It really is. But what's your plan now for? Obviously, it's not about doing the same thing, because obviously you made massive changes. Certainly in the last quarter, with Isogenics, moving into a new leadership group, and of course you were on the Eric Worre Go Pro, which is a great platform for learning. There's a lot of teachers there that you can learn from. How are you implementing that stuff? And working through that.
Yeah, good question. I think I shared before. One of the thing, when the teachers show up, uh, when you're ready, especially when you looking for something, that resonate with your values, with your ambition, what do you want to achieve in life, business wise, like with Isogenic, Eric Roy show up, we have our leaders, we have our own mentors and upline, or if you can call it, but it's not enough. It's not enough because you need a point of view from different peoples, and when you come to know that, your if you want to do more in life, you have to able to seek more, so you can improve more, like, to improve the quality of your service, your communication. And that's what I learned, and Eric Worre show up in my business journey. That allowed me to realize there's a lot of people out there. It was similar situation like me, and um, and this is one of the great win. And I think that I learned, when you tap in to people like Eric Worre um, platform, you're able to met in virtual or in a training with people like Richard Trenton, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, you know these are the people you just come watch on YouTube or Facebook. They pop up, but when you're in a room, whether it's virtually or physically, with that actual person that you admire or look up to them, do the teaching, it's a totally different energy, totally different frequency. And it's very powerful because it change that those people, they done what you already done. They achieved the success you already dream about to do. So they help you elevate, they help you accelerate, you know your journey, your success in a business wise, in the investing side, and your personal growth. That's why I really really enjoy always be in a presence of teachers like Eric Worre, you know, Les Brown, um, uh, even the people in internally in Isogenic, be on those events, whether it's a leadership event or just normal training event with our team, our mentor, our sponsor. It there's a word that you stay close to the fire, and you until you become the fire. You know, the more you stay close to those people, to the teacher and the mentors, coaches, uh, over time, you're gonna be, start to act, work, and do like those people. You're able to contribute more. You're able to implement, the things they share with you. So, if I didn't join Eric Worre platform, I won't be able on that magazine. Because that's what happened. It allow you to give you the opportunity to express more, to push yourself, and tell yourself, don't play small, because most of the time, even we play small, and then play small doesn't help to save a lot of people. When we push ourselves, even in athlete or sport world, a lot of people, they say their testimony said, when I decided to play big, I go after it, and I know that they have to pay the cost, pay the price, whether it's financially, time, effort, and energy. But when they stand on the top on receiving the trophy, they knew, you know, that's all what the coaches are pushing them and um, directing them to do to achieve what they want in life. So
Yeah.
for me, how I implement it through my work ethic, my the things that the opportunity that I open-minded to like for example the AI. I never think about the AI. I never think about opening another platform. Instagram. And I thought when I didn't know about social media, but then when I joined the coaching program and the platform, they encourage us to be open-minded. Explore, try different platform, and find your environment, find your people, find your passion where it belongs. So for me, I tried it, and I plan and do and review. So that's one of the good implement of what you learn from a coaches or a mentor or teachers, is to plan what you learn it, then you plan it. Okay, I'm going to do this, and then you try it out. And then you review and say, does it work? Does it bring me leads? Does it allow me to have a conversation? And when it does, you know level up, do more. If you only have one conversation a day, you level up. Like tomorrow I'm going to do 2 conversations a day, and continue on and on and on and on.
I must see if I can find that video actually. Carry on talking. I'm going to try and find that video, that level up video, that Bob Proctor
Okay.
one. I love that
Yeah.
video.
So, one of the things that I'm very, very grateful in this professional, and I think I make a post about it, the opportunity that, for example, Eric, Bob Proctor platform. When I joined Bob Proctor platform, it allowed me to be in his inner circle, like Sandy Gallagher, Sandra Gallagher. That's the lady she partnership with it. So not only I tap into to Bob Proctor as a teacher, I tap in to the people that Bob partnership with them to build a business. So same thing with Eric Worre. If I didn't invest in Eric Worre, to coach me, to mentor me for 1 year, I won't be able to in a room, a virtual room, to be trained by Sir Richardson, Tony Robbins, Pitbull, Ed Milet, Les Brown, and I can name a few, but there's a lot of people. I remember one of the GoPro event was Sylvester Stallone was there, speaking. I just amazed because decided that I'm going to be open-minded. Like you said, you have to be open-minded, be honest with yourself. I don't know what to do. And if the teacher show up, be ready to be open-minded. A lot of people, that's the closing door. That they want to get some more information, to get some new skill, but they don't want to pay the cost. They don't want to pay the price of becoming who they want to really become, because they don't open-minded to be
I always
receiving
say
new information.
you can't manage what you can't see.
Correct.
Monday.
So, I one of the great things that I love about our professional, it's allowed me to tap in to the inner circle of Eric Worre, which is, Tony Robbins, Sir Richard Branson, John Maxwell, great leadership coaches. And I think I put up a post on my story about him. It's very powerful, when you're learning from those giant in the world of business or personal development. Man, it's allow you to give you to have the knowledge and the wisdom, so that you can share with the people you come in contact with.
Joe, there's no doubt, right? There is so much information that if you're ready, right, that it's there for you. Like, we're talking about Bob Proctor here. You can go to Bob Proctor's YouTube channel, Proctor Gallagher Institute. You were just talking about it, and there is so much information here. Do you know, like this Born Rich Remastered? Like, if you've not watched it, to be honest, this is a whole study. You can even just go online, go to Google and type in "You Were Born Rich," workbook, and you get a PDF of the workbook that you can print off, download, and you can literally go through it. You can literally do this course. If you were going to pay for a course like this, it'd probably cost you 10 grand today, maybe even more, for this kind of course. It's absolutely a beautiful course, Look at this. Look, I'm so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increased quantities through multiple sources, on a continuous basis. Money affirmations, things like this. And, like we hear all the time that you become what you think about. So what are you thinking about? Like if you're looking for teachers, like you can find them here. Like you can find them. This stuff literally goes into it. You were talking about Les Brown. You could add to that Tony Robbins, Dean Grazioli, who's, Eric Worre. Like there are a lot of people out there who are giving away a lot of information. You just have to be open to it, and not just open to it, Joey. You have to be willing to apply it, right? Because it's no good. It's no good being open to it, if you're not gonna walk through the door and apply it. You've got to use it to your advantage, and sometimes you just got to admit that you're not doing things right. You've got to admit it to yourself first, like you've got to admit to yourself that, I'm not being as good as I can be. I'm not being the best that I can be. I can be better. But if you don't know how to be better, you need to then try and find these lessons, these teachers, decide on the person that you want to become, and then behave and act like that person would behave. Just start there. Simple things. Like if you don't like the relationship that you're in, like I'm not saying, get rid of your relationship, but why don't I try and be a better person in that relationship? Like if what we do is mirror everybody, like if someone is aggressive to me, I might be aggressive to them. If someone is kind to me, I might be kind to them. Why don't I be the person who initiates how I behave? Not reflecting somebody else, not reacting to somebody else, but why don't I be the person that initiates, my responses, to my environment, to my world, and make those decisions, So, but first I have to admit that I'm not good enough. Yeah, even though I'm good enough. I'm great. I know I am, but I can be better. I can always be better, Joey. Always. There's always room for improvement. And that we know there's always room for improvement because every car manufacturer, anybody and everybody who actually make or manufacture anything, they're constantly improving. They're constantly remodeling. They're constantly making things better. Shouldn't it be the same for me? Shouldn't it be the same for me to be making myself better? Shouldn't I want to make myself better than I was yesterday? So that I can go into tomorrow as a better person than I am today? I should be. How do I do that? By being here with you, by listening to you, by seeing your example, and then saying, do you know what? Joey's doing it right. I could copy Joey for a little bit, right? I could be a little bit like Joey, or by seeing somebody else and seeing they're getting some great results. And I'm thinking, I want those kind of results. What are they doing? And then going and copying what they're doing, and not only that, but wrapping my personality in it. It's not about me being a little mini Joey. It's about me being me. I can still use Joey's techniques. I can still use Eric Worre's techniques. I can still use Bob Proctor's techniques. I can still use, Tony Robbins' techniques. But I can, if I wrap my personality in it so that I'm being the best version of me today, right now, that's only going to make me better tomorrow. It's only going to make my relationships better tomorrow. But I have to admit that there's something wrong first. I have to admit it to me. And no one likes to admit that they're doing something wrong. Now, to be honest, though, Joe, we're talking about, where you were a moment ago. Like, there's nothing more realistic than waking up in a hospital bed, because you can't deny that shit. You just can't deny it. Like when you wake up here, and you're like, yeah, I thought everything was okay. Right, you're in complete denial if you think you're just going to kind of get up and just go back to those 3 jobs and do everything else. But instead, you go on, to this. You go on to this. That's the power of admitting to yourself that you're not in the best place, and then making a committed decision like you're talking about How the hell do you go from that to that? Tell me how that happens. Everybody wants to know. It's the secret to life, Joey. Everybody wants to know that.
Yeah, I think we had a lot, from the teacher that we learned from. They when they asked the same question to other people too. I remember Eric Worre talk about a story that when he first started out with network marketing, he was told by his teacher or the upline or the sponsor, come to an event, and he came to the event and he excused himself and went to the bathroom. And when he came back, he saw one of the top earner that went up to that room, to the stage, just the session before, and he went and stand next to it, and he feel like, I'm standing to a superstar because this guy here has earned what he want to earn. And he asked the same question: "What is the secret?" And Eric said, the person said, "Eric, there's no secret. Um, the only different that make me different from other people sitting in this room, that I make a committed decision that I will be still here, actively in our professional 1 year from now." And he said, Eric, all those people that sing in this room, next year, majority of them, they already left the professional. And I won't be able to stand next to that billboard to the leadership if I left long time ago. For things to change, of course you need to change, but change doesn't happen overnight. You have to give some time. You have to give some time and season for things to work. We don't put the seed into the ground and straight away it will work. No, the seed has to go through a lot of season, sunshine, rain, bushfire, and everything, until it's, get it roots and then sprout out and said, look, I'm here to stay. I'm here to make a contribution to this world. And that's how things work. And you and myself, we're on the same position too. The only difference is El Nightingale said, the only thing that differentiates the successful people and unsuccessful people, these people make decisions and they decided to have a goal and they go after it. No, and Bob said, just quit. Listen to what had happened externally, the small voices, because there's a lot too much noises around the world, and could be the social media, the news, what happened around us. But we just stay in the course. I think you mentioned that early in your comment. Stay in the course, be consistent. Show up and believe whatever you decided to change or accomplish in life, it will happen. Stay on. I listened to a book called Business is War by I think J.T. Fox, entrepreneur. I listened to it. The book is called Business is War. So by J.G. Fox, Foxx. He was. I love the book because he used a lot of example from former business entrepreneur, even actors. And I think one he interviewed one of the actors, and he said the only time we fail or failure is not decided to try something. So a lot of people wanted to achieve success or have a better lifestyle, but they never try to do something. They just think about it, and it's like they have the seed in their mind, and maybe it's connect with their heart or not, but they don't put that seed into action through looking for the teachers, looking for the mentors, looking for the new AI, new technology, new software. That's what you do. You keep looking, you keep finding people, and that's why people show up in your life, because your frequency, and Bob talked about it in the video, when you align your frequency with what you really want in life, there's other people who already done it, or maybe is already in the same frequency with what you are. Something it's out beyond our imagination. It connects us because that frequency aligning with other people frequency. That's how why you end up reaching out via message, and then look at you have a conversation with him, find out you've been doing business together in the old days, but because you decided to do something different and work something to elevate or accelerate your business, you reconnect with other people, successful people that you know them from a long time ago. And it amazed me because that's what Bob said. When you align your frequency with your goals and what you really, really want in life, some reason the universe will call the people. And this is how I
No.
truly believe.
It's true,
When
Joey.
when you align yourself with what you really want in life, the universe will call all the resources, like all of the people, the books, the software, the program that you want, because they knew Mikey's intentions. He's intentionally thinking and doing what he really wants, because his heart he want to save a lot of people, want a lot of people to improve the quality of their life. And because you act on it intentionally on the things you really want, it's amazing, and if you listen to this is what we want to encourage you. I think the secret in life is to decide what you really, really want, intentionally act on it. Whether you read a book, whether you reach out to someone, the universe know your heart. At the same time, you work on yourself, because when you're frequently aligned with what your goal is, you will amaze. A
You
flooding
mentioned,
of information, people, resources will come to you.
yeah, you mentioned Joey, Earl Nightingale, and I was actually listening to Earl Nightingale earlier in the week. Because um, just one of those things that just like, because of the way the algorithm works and because of what I follow and what I watch, I get a lot of Bob Proctor, Earl Nightingale, Brian Tracy, all these kind of things, and I love it all. Do you know what I mean? Especially in short formats. But Earl Nightingale was talking about Acres of Diamonds. That story, Acres of Diamonds. Where a guy has this farm. He lives in South Africa. He has this farm, but he's hearing stories about how there's great riches to be had, mining diamonds. So he sells his farm. He goes off to kind of, new pastures to try and, create wealth and ends up just going completely broke. And then the person who he sold his farm to found the biggest, largest, rarest diamond ever on his farm. And it just goes to show that, that success that you're looking for, is closer than you think. It's on your doorstep. You don't have to go looking for it. It's there. It's on your doorstep. And, the people that you need, the things that you need, it's already there, but it just needs to be unearthed. It just needs to be uncovered, or tapped into. And I think, what you're saying is that there's a wealth of resources there that you can tap into. You don't need to go anywhere. You can just tap into it, but you have to be open to making that change, and making that committed decision, to do something different, to be different. But that's part of it, Joe, because you can be afraid. You can be afraid, like, what are my friends going to think? If I start being this thing that I want, or if I start talking about this thing that I want, what are my friends going to think? What are my family going to think? And this is why you're such a great example, Joey, because you didn't care what anybody thought. You just got on with it. And what happened was that other people then started copying you, right? They started seeing your attitude, your gratitude, not just attitude, but your gratitude for this new phase in your life, And I'm not saying that you weren't scared. Of course you probably were, because it's a big step, like, look at the first time we did a podcast, we were crapping ourselves. Do you know what I mean? No idea. right? So,
True.
of course, there's always going to be fear, but then it's about taking a step, just taking a step. What's wrong with taking a step? Just one step, to get you closer to your goal. Just take one step today to get you closer to your goal. Even just try opening a book.
Mm.
Like to be honest, I used to hate that kind of stuff. I used to hate it. But the more that I got into it, the more I started learning about me, and that just helped me communicate better with myself, which meant that I could communicate better with other people. So, and it is, like it's a journey, isn't it, Joey? It's a journey, right? Success is a journey. It's not a destination, but you've got to become successful in here first before anything happens out there. And it is a challenge. I don't care what anybody says. It's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be millionaires if it was easy. And they're not, because they're distracted by entertainment, whether it be on their phone or whether it be on their television, instead of being distracted by education, by learning on themselves, by thinking about what it is that they want, how they can be better, how they can make a difference in other people's lives. And that's honest to God, that's truly why I love what it is that I do and what you do, because you have an opportunity not just to impact your life, but to impact somebody else's life, by making their life better.
Mm.
But then you meet people and they're like, oh no, I don't need any money. I don't need any extra cash. But then they completely complain about having no money or having bills to pay, So I don't know what the answer is, Joe. I really don't. But I do know that you're doing it the right way. You're just being the best version of you. You're working on you constantly, and that influences other people, because they look at Joey and they say, how the hell's Joey doing it? I just want to rub shoulders with Joey to find out what's going on, right? And that's all you can do. That's all you can do. So listen, we're going to get Joey's final thoughts, and obviously, it's not just Joey. It's Joey, the $1 million difference maker, Maka Unga, right? So we're going to get Joey's final thoughts, because I'm excited to hear them on episode 125. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And don't forget, you can find Joey on Facebook at facebook.com/Joey.Onga. And of course, you can also find all of his links there. Go and check him out.
Thank you, Mike. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. First of all, I'd just like to say I'm very, very grateful. And believe it or not, if you're watching this, you have no idea. My good friend Mike McKillen is one of my great teachers that I met in my life, and without him, I won't be here. Share the idea with you, share our knowledge, our wisdom that we learn from great teachers in our journey. And like he said, you got to be open-minded, and I think that's the very important thing that I learned. And I want to share that in our final thought tonight. You got to be open-minded. A lot of people in life, they don't move forward because they always have a closed minded. They always want to have more money. They always want to have more, to travel more, to have more, to have, better quality lifestyle. But they are very, very close minded. And close minded is start from their mind, start from the environment they grow up with. The parent that they come from, the sibling, the environment, the school they go to, the workplace that they surround themselves with. And if you are in the same situation, we just want to let you know it's okay. It's everyone have their own circumstances in life. This week I share something in my reel that I explained. A lot of people, this is a concept that I think I heard from L. Nightingale. A lot of people in life, they go looking for the circumstances they want in life, have more money or something like that. I know. But, only few people, they go and look, but when they don't find the circumstances they want in life, they create them. And I think one of the great things when you find a good teacher in life, they will teach you not to be a conformity, a person that follow what other people follow, do the same thing every single day. great teacher, great mentors, great leadership, they will make you, they will push you, they will um, right behind you, feeding your mind and challenge you. I think that's the right one. Eric, what we use the word challenge and also assignment. If you work with us and Mike, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give you assignment. We're gonna tell you to go and read a book. Look up to a podcast or a YouTube program that we learned before, because that's how we grow. We grow in life as a student. We improve by um, learning to challenge ourselves. The muscle is growing when we make it hurt, make it pain. No pain, no gain. And I think we all learn that from great teachers like Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of those people that show up in our life, through books and podcast, documentary. So, tonight 125. How did we get to 125 episode? Because we decided that we want to become a student, and then people show up in our life. Eric Worre, Bob Proctor, Les Brown, John Maxwell, Ed Milet. The list is going on and on, because we were open-minded to be unlearned and be learned again. One of the great attitude that you can have in life is become a student attitude. And student attitude is, you don't know much, and you admit it to yourself, and look, I will be a good student. I want to learn more. So I need to open-minded. I need to say yes, tell the world, and follow through. One of the great things that I learned from one of our great teacher, professional of network marketing, Eric Worre, said, turn your brain off and just follow what we ask you to do. In the army, same thing. You do what you've been told to do as a command. you know Discipline, that's how the word discipline come from. Discipline is telling yourself a command, and then you follow through. That's a good student. And good students are always looking and seeking for a better teacher. We learn in the sport, in boxing, when the champion um, lost a match, they review, and then they review their team, they review their program, and then most of them, they said, "Oh, the coach didn't have the what I need to improve to beat the other champion," so they change coach. And when they do that, they attract those good coaches, and they apply and implement, and with discipline and consistent, their result turn out, they got the bell back, because they always look for good. Like Mike said tonight, teacher cannot be a peasant all the time. A lot of our teachers is a veteran. Um, we just got some people from YouTube, from TikTok, from Instagram, in a real, and then we learn from those people. We apply what they share with us. And it could be a incident that happened. That's a good teacher. Like, with a skin of a banana. And you sometimes, most of the people learn when they make a mistake. And I learned, one of my biggest learn in life was when I end up in hospital and really check my health. And then I realized, wow, the most important things in life, if I don't have everything, but I can only have my health, that's the great teacher. The hospital was the teachers to me. That's how, the doctors and the nurses were teachers to me. That circumstances that happened to me. And I decided that I'm going to change the directory of my health. One of my latest results, in a health check, I was amazed when the teacher said, when the doctor said to me, your blood test was almost perfect, and she's very happy. But because I become a student, I decided I'm going to go out and look for people who, you know, um, being a teacher in our professional, in our company, with the nutrition, with what we put in our body, and plus with the activity or the exercise that I do daily. And from there, my health has improved a lot, and I have no doubt, no doubt that's why I show up every single day, because I have the health that I desire to do, because I become a student. I become a student in health. I become a student in investing. I become a student in business. And when I decided to do that, the teacher, the resource show up. And I think I wanted to close it tonight. We are very grateful. 125 episodes. Without the teachers that show up in our life, Bob Proctor, just to name a few, we won't be able to be here tonight. Maybe we already gave up after few episodes, but we're still here in 125, and we know we're not going to continue on building this legacy, because one day, hopefully, that our name will appear on your testimony. Hey, this is Joy Magaunga here from Sydney, Australia. My great friend Mike McKillen, entrepreneur and a business owner from Republic of Ireland. Stay in touch, because exciting thing happen coming soon between both of us, and and our ambition in life, and great teachers that we attracted in life. We're going to share more, and we realize in our journey, the bless is coming from the giving, and that's what we hear. A lot of people, if you ask us, do we compensate from this? No, we do it because we want you to be win in life. We do it because we want you to improve the quality of your health, personal development, maybe investing journey. And we do it out from our heart, because we know when we help a lot of people success or win in life, there's no doubt we're gonna be winning in life. Hey, love you all. This is Joy Magaunga here, and Mike McKillen. Thank you so much for the opportunity every single week, especially Sunday morning your side, Sunday evening in my side. Very, very grateful. I hope you learned something new tonight, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Amazing to be here with Joey, the $1 million difference maker, Makaunga. And if you're wondering what that's all about, get in touch with Joey and ask him, because it's all real. It's all true. I'm telling you. And you said something really interesting there, Joey. And what I heard was that circumstances can be the teacher. Your circumstances can be the teacher. And we often kind of just drift through life wondering why things aren't getting better, wishing for things to get better. And you said it last week, don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. And that's the key, is that you learn from your circumstances and you make that committed decision to change. And that's the thing. That's why that quote is still so important to me, especially when we're talking about, circumstances can be the teacher and learning from your circumstances. That you never change things by fighting the existing reality, by fighting those circumstances. You don't change anything. You're just fighting the circumstances. You have to change something and build a new model that makes those old circumstances vanish. You've got to create your environment, and you do that through your thinking, through that repetitive thought of building something new, building a new life. A new you, and that's where it starts. So I'm going to encourage you to start a conversation with my good friend Joey and find out what that $1 million difference maker is. He's wearing the hat. Look, he's got the hat on, right? That's a real deal. Right. You've been watching Freedom, Health and Lifestyle, episode 125. Let me just have a look, see if I can get rid of some of this stuff. And I'm going to play out with my favorite Bob Proctor video, because it's all in there. It really is all in there. In this 3.5 minutes, literally, there is so many lessons in it. It's just like, nuggets of wisdom. So, Joey, appreciate you. Don't forget, you can find Joey on Facebook at facebook.com/joey.unga. I'll put the link up. Links are in the description, actually, if you want to get in touch. You can find me on Facebook too, occasionally. Probably easier if you just go to my website. Go to mpmcquillan.com. I don't have that link there, but I will put it up there, and you can always reach out to me there, or give me a call. I'm a talky person. I love talking to people. Ring me. I'm happy to help. all right, let me get rid of this, and then we'll play out. And yeah, Joey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Joey. You really do make a difference for me. And you know, I learned so much from you. You're a great example, you know, of how to be better. And you really do make a difference, for sure. Absolutely. Appreciate you, Joey. Right, see you in a bit.
Likewise.
You see, we are created in a magnificent vibration, in an absolutely magnificent vibration. Born risk takers. Free. That conditioning takes place after birth. You can change it. It takes guts. It takes goals. Now, do you know something? You're sitting there watching this and you're thinking, by God, I'm going to change something. I always say, keep reminding yourself that you have tremendous reservoirs of potential within you, and therefore you are quite capable of doing anything you set your mind to. You really can. I don't care what the cynics tell you. Quit listening to some of your peers. Now, all you must do is figure out how you can do it, not whether you can or not. When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? You've got to create a sense of urgency. I'm going to do it right now.
If you can see it, you can do it. But the beautiful truth is you can do anything. We got to know there is a place. There is a specific frequency. And if you get on that frequency, you're going to attract what you need to you. This is what it's all about. Why have you been endowed with such awesome powers? If you'll make a committed decision, this I'm going to do. And you don't have to know how. You do not have to know how. The second you make the committed decision, you flip your brain onto the frequency that you have to be on to attract what you have to attract to manifest the thing that you want. If you can see it, you can do it. It's got to be something you want. Wants come from inside. Act like you're already there. Walk, talk, speak, live like you're already there. Don't set a small goal. Don't set something that doesn't really wind your stem. Set it so big it jazzes you. It really gets you going. When something of a very high nature resonates with the very high side of you, you'll know it. You'll know it. You will feel it. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. The only prerequisite, do you want it? Not do you need it, not could you do it. The only prerequisite is, do you want it? Take the lid off your marvelous mind and dream. For goodness sake, give yourself the right to do that. Get your analytical mind out of the way. Put it in your pocket for a while. All you're doing is exploring, daydreaming. What did Lawrence say? All men dream, but not equally. Those who dream by night in the dusty recesses of their mind wakened the day to find that it was vanity. But the dreamers of the day are dangerous men, for they may act their dream with open eyes to make it possible. This I did.